It's time for us to take a look at some of our Alaska news for this Wednesday morning. First and foremost, with President Obama closing off the Bering Sea, now he's also taken action to permanently bar drilling in the Atlantic and the Arctic. A lot of questions being raised, of course, how permanent will it be? If Trump comes in and reverse it, is it something that Trump can reverse? It's something that internationally is being looked at as affecting negatively oil prices for some time to future. The Cordova City Council looking at trimming another $200,000 out of their budget because of a huge shortfall. And speaking of shortfall, another battle over K-12 funding, once again looming for the state of Alaska. It's something that took up the entire focus of the session a year or two ago. Now, of course, with talking about a massive deficit across the board, there's been further talk of cutting a base formula, something which the new incoming majority, made up mostly of Democrats, says is not going to happen. Two different Alaska Airlines flights on two separate runs were each struck by lightning this week. And something called a circle sentence apparently failed to deter a person who'd been sentenced. Basically, he was caught stealing in a village, and part of his sentence was he had to stop drinking. He was caught drinking, and therefore now he's been sentenced to jail time, but it's been suspended. Basically, all he has to do is not drink, or now he's going to go to jail. A woman found dead in Homer by a friend of hers, or apparently right now they're saying there's no sign of foul play, but it's one of those kind of not all the details. A 37-year-old woman found by her 42-year-old friend. I'm not sure if they shared the house or what the deal was exactly, but at this point the police are saying that it's not suspicious, but they are waiting for toxicology reports to come back. You may have heard about the trucks that fall through the ice in Fairbanks. Well, apparently it has happened in Homer now on Beluga Lake, and it's interesting because it's normally not frozen all year round anyway. There's portions of the lake that remain open, and yet because some people like to race their cars on the portion that is frozen, now that somebody took their truck and broke through, they want somebody to step up and put signs. So the city of Homer says, yeah, we're not going to do it because then we're going to be liable if we post the sign and somebody goes out. Homer, their airport, says, no, sorry, the state can't do it because the state doesn't have jurisdiction either. And yet people want signs posted saying stay off the ice. Okay, newsflash. If you're driving a truck, stay off the ice. Consider yourself warned. Okay, remember Cody Roman Dial, the missing Alaskan adventurer. He went missing in 2014. They found his body in May. Apparently, and originally they were investigating for foul play. It turns out he was killed by a falling tree. That's what his dad says in the obituary that was published this week. Apparently the tree just fell on his tent while he was camping. And that can happen here in Alaska, right? Not unheard of happening, but Costa Rica. The opioid policy, this group that has been coming together to try to find a solution to the opioid epidemic that's hit Alaska. They're making these recommendations to the state, which could become law because some of the people who sit on that board are legislators. Meanwhile, the Serenity House in the peninsula has applied for a detox grant. In other words, to become a detox center. That would be money coming from the state. The NTSB released reports on the 3 fatal plane crashes that have happened thus far this month. The family that went down by Lake Clark, the plane crash that killed former Representative Mike Kelly, and then the 2 folks that were killed in the plane crash out by Antioch. Each of the reports, it's just preliminary. So all it's saying is the plane was going in this direction and went down here. There's nothing about the causes of any of the crashes yet. The Usibellis have spoken out against the new federal stream rule as being something that was applied, basically taken for the Appalachian region, and I think the word is smeared across the country as a one-size-fits-all regulation. And Alaska's senators are looking to overturn that regulation as well as new other last-minute administration regulations that have been put in as Obama steps out of office. The federal government is going to be mapping Alaska with a new unproven technology, the DPPS, in order to finish the conveyance, and the state is protesting getting the land that way. Apparently, they want it to be the proven methods of surveying. the proven methods have been taking a really long time. This is a process that began in 1959 at statehood, and they've only managed to complete 60%. That Monofill that they were talking about down in Palmer, well, the person who was proposing it, to the company that is, has now officially withdrawn their application because of how controversial it is and because of the opposition they've received from the potential neighbors. The Anchorage post office has been swamped in the last-minute holiday packages, but in Anaktuvuk PO, their post office is closed and has been closed all the way through the holiday season. Gas prices, you may have noticed, are up. The main reason is because oil prices are up. And if you recall, when we talked about one of those special needs schools down in Anchorage being closed, they're planning on just sending the kids out into the general populace and the rest of the district. And now the parents of the kids in those other schools are complaining and saying, we don't want that. Last night at the Anchorage Assembly meeting, they took testimony on the tax cap, as well as some other issues. And the Alaska Fish and Game put out some moose safety tips. Basically, don't get between a mother moose and her baby. Slow down if you're driving, and if a moose starts coming at you, get out of the way. You can outrun a moose. And lastly, JBER, as Joint Base Elmendorf Richardson, will be tracking Santa once again, something which the NORAD thing actually happened by accident over a half-century ago. Some child trying to dial Santa directly ended up getting a hold of NORAD, and the person there gave the child what he wanted to hear, told him where Santa was. And so now they've been tracking Santa for over 50 years. That's going to continue again, apparently, this week. That's our Alaska news. Today's commentary is going to focus on ski jouring. Have you ever done it? Do you know what it is? I'll tell you about it and how you can be a part of it as well. It's a great wintertime sport, especially when there's too much snow to run in. I'll tell you about that. If you like what I'm doing, please consider becoming a sponsor, a supporter. We've got Patreon. We've got links at the website, radiofreespeech.com, where you can become a direct subscriber. And there's so much more. Tell all your friends, radiofreespeech.com. Hit me up on Facebook.